everybody. Welcome back to Who's Your Band? Joining us today, we have from Great White, Mitch Malloy, lead singer.
Great White Teeth.
And of course, I am joined by my handsome baby boy, Sean Morton. Look at him.
I'm so jealous of Mitch's hair.
Oh, let me tell you something. Mitch's hair. Mitch, were you always this fucking cool?
Yeah, it came out this way.
You're cool. You're cool.
That's great. What kind of guitar is that?
This is not a Gibson.
Not a Gibson?
Nope.
Nice.
But it looks like one.
That's a nice one, actually. I just got an ESP 401.
Okay, so Japanese.
Yeah. It's very chunky. It's very chunky. I like the sound of it.
Yeah, ESP is a Japanese company.
I had a Les Paul. I had a Les Paul years ago, which I bought off eBay. And don't ever buy a guitar on eBay, is all I'm going to tell you.
I have done, but Japanese are probably my favorite guitars. It's what I have mostly in my collection.
Nice.
Is Japanese.
How many do you have?
I just sold a whole bunch. I just moved to Florida, so I purged. So I think I'm down to like 30 something.
Oh, G only?
Yeah, it's rough. Being me is very, very rough.
I have eight. I have 8, and I'm losing my shit. I have no more space for them.
Yeah.
30 at the end of the apartment.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yep.
Before we get started, Mitch, I have to say, somebody says hello. I was with Don Jameson last night.
Oh, cool.
He says hello. He sends his regards to you.
Hello, Don.
Yeah. So what have you been doing, man, to stay creative during this this whole time off, this layoff?
I started, just writing songs. I have a recording studio that I'm sitting in, and I can write songs, luckily. So, and I can record them all by myself, luckily. So I had started off doing that. I recorded 2 songs for Great White, wrote and recorded 2 songs for Great White, and then I shifted gears a little bit. With the whole shutdown of everything, I thought I'm going to have to start doing some acoustic shows.
Have you been doing that?
Yeah, I did a little bit of that, and I thought, okay, so I need some more material. I have a zillions of songs, but they're all my songs. So I thought, it might be cool if I learned some covers. Like, because I haven't. Most musicians started doing covers, and that's true for me too, but I stopped doing that like 30 years ago or something. You know what I mean? Like, I stopped doing that a long time ago. So I didn't really have the whole cover thing, People say, oh, can you come up and sing such and such, some hit song? I'm like, no, I have no idea how it goes. So I'm unique in that way. So I thought, what's one of my favorite songs? Aerosmith Dream On, one of my favorite songs. So I learned it on acoustic, which is almost impossible for me, but I did it and I recorded it.
So Aerosmith Dream On. What else have you been practicing?
It's mostly my stuff. I thought, maybe I should do some Van Halen because I have a bit of a Van Halen, past people know about.
Well, yeah, I want to ask you about that, but I'm curious though about the songs that you learn. You're going out, you're trying to play some acoustic gigs. What did you have to pick up? What classic songs did you wind up choosing?
Yeah, well, I thought maybe Ice Cream Man would be an obvious one because it's an acoustic Van Halen thing. So that one. Also, Somebody by Aerosmith off the first album was a huge, song that is a huge to me. The first Aerosmith album for me is quite possibly my favorite record. Like, if I had to choose one record, that one might be it. So I really like that one, and then the rest is probably just my stuff. Maybe some Great White stuff. Obviously, people expect that. Yeah.
But before we get into Aerosmith, like you alluded, you're singing in Great White, and Great White, man, after Jack Russell and the band split a little bit, you had Johnny Lane from Warrant
Right.
sing lead, and Paul Shortino from Rough Cut. How did you wind up getting the gig in Great White?
I just begged them. No.
That's not true.
No, it's not true at all. I had no idea they were looking for a singer. Actually, it all happened very organically, I'd have to say. Michael Wagoner is a friend of mine, and he didn't really have anything to do with me getting the job. It was just he needed singers. They were making a record with him in Nashville, and he needed more singers for some songs, like for group vocals and stuff. And he called me, and I've been to his studio a number of times. And like I said, we're friends. He's a great guy. I love Michael. And so when I got there, they seemed to know who I was, which surprised me. I'd never met them before. I'm always surprised when anybody knows who I am. I guess that it's getting less and less like that because I'm getting more known, I guess. People come up to me in the airports a lot now and stuff like that. So it's getting kind of normal, but then it wasn't really so normal. So I was surprised
you do kind of stand out a little bit.
I don't
got
blend.
That cool rock star vibe.
Yeah, I don't really blend. I try, but it's hard. So so anyway, I sang on their record, and then I was on the cruise, Monsters of Rock cruise, solo, right. Mitch Malloy, and they asked me to come up and sing, just as a goof, just like sing backgrounds again, and I did that, and that was really cool. And then I had a really nice studio business going. I have some pretty major clients. I did some work with Taylor Swift and people, some really great people in Nashville, and that I worked really hard to make that into a career, and I had done that, and so I had a successful production, engineering, mixing, mastering career at studio in Nashville, and I had been doing that then so long, and I just started getting really burnt on it, and I was booked a year and a half, like in advance, so I had a really successful business there. But I just didn't want to do it anymore. Like I just got burnt on it. And I walked into my wife's office one day and I said, you know what, send the deposits back. I can't do this anymore. I need to shift gears. I can't. And she was like, so, and then about 2 weeks after that, I called our agent, my agent and Great White had the same agent. I called him and I said, I'm shutting my studio down. I'm tired of that. I want to start playing more live stuff. So if some shows come in for me, because I had told him previous, don't book me unless it's M3 or Monsters of Rock Cruise. Or
do you like touring, Mitch?
Yeah, I do, but I had told him to not book. I only want to do a few shows a year, kind of thing, because I just don't have time. Because once you shift gears into live mode as a solo rock act, I have to assemble a band. I have to rehearse them. It's a lot of work. It's
how long does that take? How long would that take?
Well, I get great guys, so they pretty much do their homework, and then we come in and we rehearse a little bit and we go. But it's still a shift of gears. I have to shift gears. I have to relearn the songs. It's like putting on a different hat,
Right.
It'd be maybe sort of like maybe this isn't a great analogy, but if you're a pro athlete and you're in football and then suddenly you're going to play basketball or something like that, it's like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like you have to, like, it's a different uniform kind of thing, different skill set. So it just takes a bit. So I didn't like doing it so much. If I had a career as a solo artist where I was just pounding it out and I was constantly going, that'd be great. But that never really happened for me. And I wasn't willing to just kill myself and go out and do that when I had the skill of being able to produce and stay home. And then I had a baby girl, so that made me want to stay home even more. And so I really shifted gears into the home life, be a good dad, stay home, be a producer, all that. So after many, many years of that, then I just got burned on that. My little girl was getting a bit older, so I could afford to maybe go out and do some more shows. So I made the call to the agent, said so. So then like a week after I made that call, he calls me back and he says, would you be interested in being the singer of Great White? And I was like it was very left field for me. Like the thought never entered my mind, not once. Seriously. Right. But that was the same with Van Halen too. That never, but you know, that
we'll get into Van Halen we'll get into them in a bit.
Yeah.
But you knew Mark Kendall, right?
Only from meeting him in the studio when I sang on.
Okay.
Yeah. That was the first time I met him. And he goes, hey man, yeah, I saw the Van Halen thing and that's really cool, man. And that was it. I mean, there was no like, hey, what do you think about her? Like,
that's a tremendous leap of faith on his part, don't you think?
I don't think they were even, but see, when I actually met them physically the first time, I don't think I mean, you'd have to ask them, but I don't think they were thinking about having me be their singer. I don't think that entered their mind. I think that what happened was they came and saw my show on the cruise. And that's when their wheels started turning. Like, that voice, that look would work for us. Now, you know, I don't know that for a fact. I never asked them, but I was told that some of them were at my show.
So how was it when you guys finally got together? I mean, did it click right away? Was it just like it just felt natural, just felt organic? Did it just work, or did you have to work at it?
No, so here's the thing. So once I told our agent, like, yeah, let's explore that. But then being a producer, I'm thinking, I'm not sure if I really hear me working with that band. Like I'm not sure I hear this voice working with their music. So I was like auditioning the situation as well as they were auditioning. You know what I mean? Like,
sure, of course.
Because I've been in this situation before where I've had to say no to bands that were actually much, much bigger than Great White, but just because I didn't think it was going to work. But so what I asked them to send me some backing tracks of them, and I just put my voice in the studio and then see. So they did. And I started with, well, you know, so I started with Rock Me, because that's, you know, when you're a producer, engineer, and this is what you do, and you understand that the studio is the microscope. The studio is the truth, you know, like there's no excuses in the studio. So it's a whole different world than live. It's much, much more difficult, the studio. So, and it makes musicians better. It makes singers better. It makes guitar players better. It makes the studio is like, wow. If you get good in the studio, the live is much, much easier. So that was my thinking. So I put my voice on Rock Me, and I honestly could not believe it. I couldn't believe that the sound of my voice worked on that song. And I sent it to them, and they were like, are you fucking kidding me? Was the response that I got in text when they listened, you know? And I was like, I know, right? Yeah, they just were like, I think because they were maybe a little doubtful too. I don't know, but I certainly was. And it's funny because I've had fans come up to me since being in the band for now 2 years.
Right, you joined in 2018.
Yeah, it's 2 years. Yeah, so I had several fans come up to me going, you know, after the show, like they'll see me after the show, and they'll be like, you know, I didn't know. I honestly was very doubtful that you would fit with them, but man, do you fit with them. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's one of those things where, you know, and I have to say, I think Michael Lardy was the one who really heard it first. Like, he heard it. I think he came to my show that night on the cruise and was listening to me and heard the tone of my voice and thought, that works with us. And he was right.
And so the 2 years before the pandemic and everything, no problems. It was great, right? You enjoying yourself. Everything was working out, you know, great shows.
It's been gangbusters from the show one. And, you know, it's just been, yeah, like, I don't know, man. It just works.
And you guys have been getting out and playing a little bit too.
Yeah, we've done 2 pandemic shows. We've done 2 social distance shows. One more social distance than the other.
Is that the show in North Dakota?
North Dakota, my hometown. Yeah.
Oh, is that where you're from? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we just show up and we do, you know, we just do our thing, and, you know, it's up to them what happens in the crowd and what, you know what I mean? It's not
right. It's the venue's responsibility.
Yeah, we don't make the rules. We're just rock musicians, man.
How was that? The people must have been loving to say, because Sean and I are both stand-up comedians, and
cool.
we've been getting out and we've been doing our shows. And I got to tell you, it hasn't been a show that people haven't been appreciative and want to be there. They want to come out. You know, they're missing normalization.
Yes. Yeah. It's been fantastic. I mean, that first show in North Dakota was a show that I'll never forget, because it was in my hometown, and here I am coming back to my hometown in Great White, you know. So
right.
It was like, you could not see the end of the crowd. Like, it was like,
and wow,
thousands of people.
That's gotta be a little scary though, too, though. I mean, considering the climate that we're going through, though, don't you think?
Yeah, it was a little tense. It was a bit tense. Yeah, that aspect of it was a little tense and a little strange, admittedly. And then we just did a show Saturday that has been our next show, and that was a drive-in show in Kentucky. And so it's cars, and it's like, they call it like a tailgate party.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But the thing is, you know, it's outdoors. Again, we're outdoors. So it's outdoors, and, you know, we're all wearing masks during the sound checking and everything like that, and just not wearing it for the show. But the crowd was behind the soundboard, right? And their cars are outside of the cars, so we could barely see them and barely hear them. There were thousands of them, and they were there to see us, and they were loud, but they were so far away that I was like,
yeah,
louder. You know,
we've done those parking lot shows too, and as a comedian, I'm sure the same thing with musicians is that, you know, part of it is like, you want them on top of you because you want to be able to connect. And
yeah,
you're in a car, how do you connect?
Yeah, you know, rock and roll is a contact sport, man. Like, it's
Same
all
thing with
about
comedy.
Yeah, it's all about emotion, connectivity, energy.
Absolutely.
And you guys haven't seen me on stage, but, you know, my heroes are like David Lee Roth and Steven Tyler, and, you know, those guys who are very, very physical frontmen. Mm-hmm. And that's how I am on stage. And it's when the girls are packed in and they're just going crazy. It's amazing, right? So to not have that, it's still cool. I mean, we still did our show, and it's still, you know, nice big production and all that. And, you know, sounded the same to us, you know, but to not have that immediate, those people right there.
Yeah, it's very strange. It's a very strange feeling. Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
Now, you alluded before about Van Halen, and after listening to My Therapy, I can definitely hear you in Van Halen. So I guess the big question is, you turned them down. Is that the story?
Yeah. So, well, it's pretty complicated, actually.
First of all, let's start from the beginning. How did they reach out to you? Did they hear you?
Yes. Yeah, they reached out to me.
That's insane.
So you haven't seen the documentary, or you have seen it?
I have not seen it yet.
Oh, okay. Well, you should watch that. It's because that tells the story way better than I can tell the story. It's called Mitch Malloy, Van Halen's Lost Boy. It's on YouTube, and it's viral. It's nearly 2 million, I think, views. It's really well laid out. The company that did it did an amazing job, and it really shows kind of what happened, how it happened. But yeah, they reached out to me. What happened was, my ex-road manager, Steve Hoffman, went to work for Ray Daniels in Canada, who's Rush's manager. And Ray was becoming Van Halen's new manager. And so they were having
a connection to Eddie as well.
Al. So Ray's sister is married to Al.
That's it, right? Okay, I knew there was something family related there. So it was kind of going to be 3 against 2, in a type of vote.
Well, not even that so much. It's just, Ray loved me. Steve introduced him to me via my work, and he was like, "Oh my God, that's the guy. That's he kind of sounds a bit like Sammy, looks a little bit like Sammy and Dave, and
True.
So they called and then they flew me out there, and it was cool, but then the whole thing with the MTV with David Lee Roth happened. They did that was right after I was supposed to be in the band. So that
was there kind of like a handshake agreement at this point?
Yeah, it was actually beyond that. Like I said, Mitch Malloy, Van Halen's Lost Boy. Yeah, I watched that.
Okay.
It was beyond a handshake agreement. We didn't sign anything, and there were no lawyers or anything like that. But it was, congratulations, you're in the band.
You met the guys, you jammed with them, you guys vibed, everything was cool.
Congratulations, you're in the band. Kiss, kiss, hug.
Wow.
And then they go on.
So it's beyond everything was cool. It went a little beyond that. Yeah. And then they went on the MTV thing with David Lee Roth, and things just got really wonky and like, what is going on? And I had some other, I'm a kind of person that doesn't like conflict, and I know in any professional situation, there's always conflict and there's always people doing that, and it's within reason, it's okay. But just for me, the writing on the wall was like, this isn't going to work, because what they're saying and what they're doing. And I just made the decision to walk away. Not an easy decision.
That takes a lot of balls, let me tell you.
Yeah, well, I had other things going on. You know what I mean?
You're talking about, in American rock music, you're talking about one of the top 5 American all-time rock bands. So just to simply say, you know what, it's not going to work, I'm not going to do it. Yeah. Like Sean says, that took a tremendous amount of balls, a lot of courage, a lot of faith in yourself.
Yeah, well, that's the thing that people, I think, miss. They don't understand who I am as a person. They don't understand. And it's not like I'm just like some crazy egomaniac a-hole. It's just, I have self-respect.
You know your worth.
And yeah,
Well, a lot of people don't know their worth. But the money had to be insane, and the amount of fame, and you just like you just said no. I mean, you seem like, just for the short amount of time that we've been talking to you, you seem like a guy with a tremendous amount of integrity.
Thank you.
That's what I pick up off of you.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Thank you. Yeah. And I think, hopefully when people meet me, they understand that, and they don't just think it's all bull or whatever, So, but there was a big band before that.
I don't get that from you at all. In fact, you come off as extremely authentic. Like what you say is what you mean. Like you're not that stereotypical 80s hair band rock star. You seem like you have a lot of depth to you.
Thank you, sir. I had good parents, and my dad was a federal judge and a really good guy, and yeah, he was a good guy. So he's long gone now, but I appreciate you saying that. And like I said, before Van Halen, there was another huge band that I didn't take.
Can you tell us?
I probably shouldn't.
No one listens to this anyway.
Does it rhyme? Does it rhyme with nuns and noses?
No.
Okay.
No, and you're saying that because Mitch also does you did a version of "You Could Be Mine" on a tribute album, didn't you?
Yeah,
that's my favorite song by Guns N' Roses, or Nuns and Noses,
cool.
whatever.
That was just a weird thing. I had met Fred Coury from Cinderella, the drummer from Cinderella, and Fred is really active as a producer as well, and he was doing all kinds of different things. He's a super creative guy, and he's doing movie soundtracks and TV stuff in his studio, and he's doing all kinds of stuff. He's really well connected and talented, beyond being a rock drummer. And he just called me one day and he goes, "I'm doing this cover Guns N' Roses thing, and the songs that are left are available are A, B, or C. I don't remember what they were." And he said, how would you feel about doing You Could Be Mine? I said, well, I don't know it, but I'll give it a shot, So I drove over to his place. He was living in Nashville. I was living in Nashville. Drove over to his place, and I had the lyric, and we just threw up a mic, and I just went for it. It came out pretty good, I guess. I don't know.
Will you agree with me that Nashville is probably the best party city in the United States?
Yeah, it's funny, and I'm not really a partier, so I left. No, I left a year and a half ago.
Where are you now?
I'm in Florida. I live in Florida.
Yeah, what part?
Destin, Florida.
Okay.
So
what was this? What was the other band?
There's more than one.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, and they're all.
If this guy tells me that he turned down Van Halen, Kiss, and a Led Zeppelin reunion, I'm gonna fly down to Florida and punch him in the face. I swear to Christ.
It could be Zeppelin. Was it Zeppelin?
No, but you know what? No, there was. Remember when Zeppelin was thinking about doing something with the new singer?
Yeah.
My hat was in the ring for that, and
wow.
And it never happened. But I think I was on a list of some sort because I knew people who knew Jimmy, and so I was presented to. I never spoke to any of them or anything like that. I'm not saying that I was, that I was even close to being in Zeppelin, but I think maybe they saw my name at least or something. But no, Zeppelin is not one of them. Not that big, but pretty big.
He's gonna tease this the whole episode, you know what I mean? And then he's gonna drop half the name of the band and then disconnect his iPhone.
You know what I think, Sean? I think he already told us the name of the band. Think about it. Like, let's put the timeline together. Okay. Listen, Mitch looks great. He looks great. He looks every part the rock star. Okay. But there was a time when Steven Tyler left Aerosmith. And man, they were thinking about him leaving Aerosmith, and I think he may have even left at one point. And they wanted to. Didn't Aerosmith want to go on tour? And who else? Who else besides the one and only Mitch Malloy
That's not it. That's not it. But I did hear about that, and I was sort of submitted for that. Like, I probably got closer to Zeppelin than I did to Aerosmith.
Really? So here's a question. So here's a question. So there's no Great White right now, right? And it's just Mitch Malloy as the singer, and you can pick your entire band from different bands. Who is your ultimate band that you put together? Because this question came to me one time. If I could be in one band, who would I pick? And I would replace Izzy Stradlin from Guns N' Roses. So if you could pick your own band, like your super group, who would it be? And it could be dead too. Doesn't matter.
Let's start with guitar playing.
Well,
who's your guitarist?
Probably Gary Moore.
Wow. Oh, wow.
Good pick.
Yeah.
Good pick.
Okay.
Yeah, if I could, if I could have any guitar player, God, Gary Moore is so good. He's one of my favorites. Of course, Eddie is a huge fan of his work and his playing, and he's just a genius.
Was he cool when you met him?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Very, very cool. He treated me like I was in the family. Like he just, it was instant chemistry. And, it's funny because I got out of the limo and we're LA and I get out of the limo and I have my sunglasses on and he's like, take off your glasses. I want to see your eyes. So he actually took off my glasses and looked into my eyes and he was like, awesome. And then he like hugged me, it was like, it's so funny because at one point, I think it was the first day and we were about to start playing and he goes, God, I'm so nervous.
He said that.
I was like, you don't get to say that. You do not get to say that to me. You are Eddie Van Halen. This is Van Halen. I'm just some schlump singer. Like, you don't get, I was like, what? And then he goes, yeah, but we don't do this. We don't, this is not something we do, and I'm like, no, I get it. I said, but
that's a valid
I'm more
point,
nervous
though.
than you. Just
so when you guys got together,
when you
guys got together,
and
what
it's
songs
an insight.
did you jam to?
It's an insight into him too. It's an insight into the fact that he's just a dude. He's a brilliant musician, but he's just a guy. He's just. We started with Panama. He asked me what song I wanted to do first, and I said Panama.
Nice.
Eddie was here. So we were facing the console. We're standing in 5150. So we're looking at the console, looking through the window. Al was out in his drum room, which is where he always is, and Ed was standing here and Mike was standing here. And so for the backgrounds, I just leaned into Mike and he sang backgrounds, into my mic. It was very rock and roll. It was I wish we had it on video, man.
Are there any recordings?
Yeah. If you had watched Lost Boy, you would know that.
I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it, and our whole two listeners are gonna watch it as well.
Listen, Mitch, there's one thing you may not know, and I'm not sure. Like, we did our research, but I don't know if you did our research on us. But the first time that I ever sang in a band, one of the first 5 songs that I did was Panama as well.
Right on.
Yeah.
Did you do any Sammy stuff with Van Halen?
Yeah, we did Why Can't This Be Love?
Oh, great song. I love
and Dreams.
Oh, it's such a great.
God.
I can really see you pulling that song off.
Yeah. And we did Dreams after sort of the audition was over. And he was like, yes, you're awesome. Ah! And then they went and did something and Valerie came in and Valerie was amazing. Like, so nice.
You're the second guest in a row to say that. And
she said to me, they're so excited. Ed loves you. He's so excited. You know what I mean? It was like, because how else are you going to know that? You know what I mean? Like, so that.
And then you broke his heart, Mitch.
that calmed me down. And then he came back in, and then we were out in the studio, and he goes, "Hey, come here. Do you know Dreams?" And I was like, "Well, you know, I didn't really work on it because you didn't ask me to, but I could probably fake my way through it." So we sat down at the piano, and he started playing it, and I sang. And at the end of the first chorus, he just stopped, and he goes, I shouldn't say this.
Say it.
This is going to make me look like an idiot, though.
He said, "You sounded better than Sammy." It's okay. We can say it.
Okay, you said it.
Thanks.
Thank you for picking up on that, Sean. That
he said that, and I was just like, huh. You know, just like whatever. You know.
Now I'm angry. Now I wish. Why couldn't you join the band? Oh my God! I would have loved to have heard that.
You know what? This is kind of a generic answer, and maybe a little bit chicken shit, but it wasn't meant to be. It just wasn't meant to be. Like, it just wasn't. You know what I mean? Like, it just wasn't. It just didn't feel.
Boy.
Yeah, it just. I mean, if he called now, things might be different. But you know, I'm committed to Great White, and I'm happy doing that. But you know, it just at that time, it just wasn't. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think they were quite settled on. You know, I think Ray being their manager was a new thing, and it was so they were struggling with the whole David Lee Roth thing, and you know, I mean, that had to be hard for them too, because you know, obviously Dave was proven, you know,
right.
But it's so funny because people see the documentary, and I think some of the people get the wrong idea and think that Dave actually was coming back into the band, but that was never happening. It did happen years later. Years later, Ed did call me. We, you know, rekindled a friendship, and he was calling me a lot. Right around the time, coincidentally, that Gary departed. And Ed asked me what I thought that he should do. Personally, like as his friend, like, what do you think I should do? He said. And I said, honestly? And he goes, yeah. And I said, get Dave back. And he did.
Interesting.
I thought Gary kind of got the he got kind of like a raw deal. Like a lot of people dump on Gary, and I didn't think it was entirely his fault. And I didn't think that record was that bad. You know, the way people kind of like make it out to be.
Yeah, you know, I understand Gary's predicament because I was presented with the same music. So I love Ed, and I think he's a genius, and I think he's written some of the best rock and roll in the history of rock and roll. But the music he was writing then, I didn't really understand. He was trying to do something different, I think, and I wasn't tapping into exactly what that was. And maybe Gary had the same fate with that.
Kind of like reinventing himself a little bit.
Yeah, I think that he was wanting to do that, and I completely get that, because you get sick of doing the same thing. As an artist is something that should be changing and should be developing and growing, and he's an artist. So yeah, you know.
So what are you listening to these days now? You're driving around. What do you listen to now? What's anything new? You going back listening to old music?
Yeah, I don't really listen to anything new. I don't generally hear anything new that makes me go, yeah. You know, which in a way disappoints me, because I think that I'm just like, you know, a typical dumbass who just is stuck in his ways. But I like what I like, and you know, I'm the same as everybody else. I like what I grew up on, and you know, I mean, occasionally I hear new people that can sing their butts off, and people that could play like amazing, or you know, but I haven't heard a band in the last, I don't know how long, where I went, oh, that's it. You know what I mean?
Greta Van Fleet didn't do it for you?
There's a part of what they do that really does it for me, but it's that they sound like Zeppelin. That's the part of them that I love. I haven't been able to go on the journey with them at least yet and love what they're doing as them. I love what they were doing as Zeppelin.
Right.
It's like, oh,
it's just too much of a carbon copy for me.
Yeah, I agree, but I still like that. You're asking me to, what I like about it. That's what I like about it. I don't think that they have come into their own as artists.
Sure, they're very young too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I also like Pop Evil a little bit too. You ever check them out?
I've heard of them, but I don't know them.
Yeah, they're kind of like the good mix of like old, like the tail end of the 80s hair metal and more of like the harder rock of the late 90s, early 2000s. They're pretty good.
I just think any band that's playing live music and not with tracks and it's just, again, genuine, that's I want to go out and support, because it really seems like we're getting away from that. And even like in live performances, like, I was excited. I wanted to see Kiss, but then when I heard, a lot of the concert was backing tracks and almost just playing to a record, it really turned me off. And I kind of like checked out on it. I didn't go.
Yeah, I agree with that. We don't do that with Great White. We're up there playing. In fact, we just had a DVD come out that I produced. It's a live show that we did very early on with them. I think it was my 8th show or something like that. But that just came out, and it's authentic. It's us. And I kept saying that to them. Like, I want it to be real. I want it to be, obviously I'm going to make it sound as great as I can, but I want it to be those performances, and it is. It is.
And then back in high school, you were a rock star back in your high school, right? With Lightning? Was that the name of your first band?
Yeah. So age 12, I just got the bug and thought,
who was it that you saw that said, man, that changed my life? I'm going to go into music. That's going to be my career.
At age 6, I was picked to start singing like the solos in the school presentations. So, and then age 9, I was picked by the church to sing solos. And so it just kind of organically happened. I didn't know how to play an instrument. So age 12, my brother had gotten a guitar for Christmas, and I took his guitar and started playing it. And I could almost play guitar from the first time I picked it up. Like, it was
from ear. Huh.
Yeah, it didn't come as natural as singing did, but close. And I am definitely not the guitar player that I am the singer, but I'm a pretty good guitar player. But anyway, yeah, so age 12, I thought, you know what, I want to form a band. And I didn't actually ever see a rock show until I was, I think, 15.
And who was that?
That was Heart.
Oh, God.
My first show. Yeah, it was it was the not Dream, what was the tour?
Dreamboat Annie?
No, it was after that, when they were dressed in like sort of
was this late 70s or mid 80s?
Yeah, late, like 70s. So they were like had tights and mandolins and smoke.
Yeah.
And
oh man, because they had come out with Crazy for You at that point, and
it was after that. It was after that. So I'm blanking because my mind is mush. But anyway, that was my first concert was Heart, and I was like, oh my God. And then my second one was Styx. So it was like I was hearing amazing vocals live and just blown away. And so yeah, I thought that's kind of already what I was doing. For my first band when I was 12. So yeah, so I don't know if you could call me a rock star in high school, but a little bit of a rock star, I guess.
Let me tell you, you were a rock star. You played in a band. You got chicks. Okay, you were a rock star, my friend. Okay, you're a very modest guy, but you were definitely a rock star. That's for sure. I love Styx too, by the way. I am a Styx fan.
Did you ever perform? Did you ever perform at a band that you had high expectations for, and they turned out to be real douchebags? Because we deal with comics all the time that like we look up to or we want to work with, and then when you finally get to meet them, you're like, ugh.
Oh, have I ever met anybody? Yeah. I have. In fact, I almost purposefully don't meet my heroes because of it, because I just want to keep them on a pedestal. Like, I've never met Steven Tyler, and certainly I could have met him over the years. I could have, if I really was like focused on that, but I just don't. I generally don't. I have met some, and some are great, and I've met some, and some aren't great.
It's shitty though, isn't it?
Yeah, but they too might have just had a bad day, and they're just people, and life on the road is hard. Like, there are some times on the road where I'm just like, and people are like, Mitch, and I'm like, I'll be back. And I just keep going,
right?
Because I'm just so fried, and I have to get to where I'm going, and I'm already late, and it's, you know what I mean? So, sorry for the fans in the, lobby that I didn't stop for, but yeah, I mean, you don't know what they're going through. They might've just gotten into a fight with their wife, or, who knows?
Very true.
Sean, you know about that, right?
I usually have to beat my fans off with a stick all the time. Yeah.
Like into a fight with your wife. Just before you came on, Joe was telling me he gets into a fight with his wife, and they're fighting for 2 hours. I'm like, who has the stamina to fight for 2 hours straight? Man, that is a knockout brawl.
Yeah, no, I can't hang. It's like,
I'll give up.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny because my little girl, she's 12 now. Like, she'll just look at me like, Dad, like, you're gonna lose. And I'm like, and I look at her like, yeah, she's right. I'm gonna lose. I always lose.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So what does the future hold for you, man?
Well, it's funny you should ask, because like I said, Great White's got a new DVD just out. It's called Great White Live.
How'd you come up with that title?
I think pure genius.
Yeah.
I'm surrounded by geniuses. Yeah. So
you're on this show.
Yeah, always surrounded by geniuses. So that's finally out now, and we had a conference call just before I got on with you, with the band, and we were talking about logistically how to orchestrate us beginning to record. So we have done a little bit of recording, where Kendall will send me, he'll send me a song in like guitar form, and then I'll take that and learn it, record it with everything, and then send it back to him. Write the vocal, write the everything, record it, play all the guitar, the bass, and everything, and send it back to him. And he's like, yeah! He loves it when I do that. So there's some of that has happened, and I have written some songs by myself that I've submitted for the band, that the band wants to work on and make it Great White, because obviously I can't by myself be Great White.
Right.
If I could do that, that would be amazing. So we talked about that, and we talked about how we're going to do some things. Audie, our drummer, has a studio in his house. So we talked about, some gear changing and how we're going to fly files around, and, this kind of the starting of making some music, to put out. And we'll probably do like 3 songs, just put out 3 songs, and then work on 3 more, put out 3 songs. And then eventually, when we have an LP worth, we'll release that as an LP, press it up. And, I think that's going to be how we're going to move forward.
Isn't it amazing how the dynamic has changed as far as releasing music over the past 10 years? How, you'd have a band, say if a band just, took a hiatus for 2 years and you'd have to wait another 2 years for a record. You guys can just basically get into the studio and spend 2 or 3 days, write a song, record it, master it, produce it, and it could be out in a month. And with all the digital phenomenon that's going on right now, it's perfectly normal to do that.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it could be out faster than that.
Yeah.
If you really have your shit together, and so yeah, let's hope that there's some new Great White stuff coming soon. I think the guys have shifted into that gear. I'm always in that gear. I live in the studio.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like, so easy. Luckily, but yeah, so that's what's coming up. And as far as solo stuff, it's like, for me, my priority is Great White, but whatever Great White doesn't want to use, I can put out by myself. So
do you have a core group of studio musicians that you use, or you just use different people for different projects?
I do everything myself, actually. Yeah.
Fucking show off.
So yeah, so the Making Noise record, you said you heard My Therapy, that's all me.
Yeah, that's great.
Wow.
That's just me.
Do you play drums, or you use a drum machine?
I program drums. I do play drums. So I started, that was my first instrument. So I understand drums. So I program drums, but I have kind of the mind of a drummer. So that helps.
Mitch, if you need a drummer that can maybe keep time, I'm your man.
Cool. Maybe.
And I can play drums too, as long as there's no bass drum involved. If there's a bass drum involved, I can't do it. But up top, I'm an animal.
Yeah, the kick drum's difficult.
It really is.
It's a lot of work. Makes you sweat.
Man, it's really, really super nice getting to meet you and talking with you a little bit, man. Really, we wish you so much luck and success. And I can't wait for this freaking pandemic to be over so bands can go out there touring. And if you're ever in the New York, New Jersey area, man, we'd love to see you, and let us know, maybe come back on and promote the gigs and stuff. I mean, we'd love to do anything we can to support you, Mitch.
That would be great. I appreciate that. And we did do Atlantic City. We played a really beautiful casino in Atlantic City. It was before the shutdown. It was in the fall, I think, or in the winter. I don't remember the name.
Borgata?
Yeah. Really nice place.
Yeah. Jeff's not a good enough comedian to play the Borgata, but I've played there for 3 weeks
been
already.
At the Borgata, stupid. Oh, you're the worst. This is why
I love going on between you guys.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, well, this is fun, Mitch. I really appreciate it. I know Jeff does too.
Of
Thanks,
course,
guys.
man.
Yeah.
Very much so.
And where can we find your stuff online? Do you have a website we can direct our fans to?
MitchMalloy.com. Yeah,
very simple.
MitchMalloy.com. Yeah, the Making Noise CD is there, available. All my merch. I had face masks, Mitch Malloy face mask. I have T-shirts and
here's
koozies.
A question for you, Mitch. What size T-shirts do you go up to on your website?
Triple XL. Like,
smart. You're a smart man, and I tell this to every band. Fat guys will support merch if you make it in our size.
Dude, and it's really, I do something different than most bands. I think I use really high quality T-shirts because I want people to wear the shirt. Like, I want people to want to wear the shirt. I want them to look at it in their drawer and go, oh yeah, that one, because it feels good. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So yeah, so I don't use the crappy cotton, and I go for the nice shirt. So
smart man.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to buy a Jeffrey Paul T-shirt, it's a Hanes T-shirt. It is a real T-shirt. It's a good.
He's
T-shirt.
Lying. He doesn't have a T-shirt.
I have a T-shirt. I have a T-shirt. My symbol is it's a mic with a fist with a mic in it, and underneath it says "Wine Make." Okay, and then you can understand why Make. But this is great, man.
So on the other side of it, if you guys are ever down in my area on the Gulf Coast, you're doing your thing, let me know. I'll come see you.
Well, that would be me. That would be me, actually. It wouldn't be Jeff.
Okay. Well.
So he's the worst. Awesome. He is the worst. But we walking around. We really do appreciate it. Thank you so much, man. You're a really good dude. And again, we wish all the success for you.
Thanks, guys.
All right, we will be back next week with another episode. Thank you, Adam Holtz, for producing. Sean, parting words.
Yes, MitchMalloy.com.
Yes.
Boom.
Okay, everybody. We'll see you next week. Take care.